Boom. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday comic book preview stream. We
Hello,
have a very,
hello.
very special guest. Susie Blake is with
Hey.
us. Normally we have to. I'm gonna squeeze in a little bit. I don't like to.
Yes.
I don't want to be too far off from you. Hey, everybody. Hello. Thank
There
you
you
for commenting. First time chats. Awesome. Normally we
Cool.
have our mutual friend Celeste is here
Yes.
doing the stream, but I kicked her off today. I was like so sick of talking with her all. No, we're just kidding. She wasn't able to do the stream, but it was very fortunate because Susie,
Hi.
she messaged me today just like begging. She goes, "Oh, would it be okay maybe if I was on the stream for like a minute just so I could talk about something that's coming out tomorrow?" And I said, "Of course you can."
Yes.
And because it was just very, very convenient. Why are you so sweaty? Oh my gosh.
Okay, I will say I had my hair all nice and straight in
Uh-huh.
preparation for this stream, but then I made the mistake of eating pho right beforehand, and it's 104 degrees out here in St. Louis, and so my hair really curled up. It kind of looks like this right now.
Yeah. This is
We have
my hair
matching
just
hair.
looks like this all the time. Hello, everybody.
Oh, hey,
Yay.
Terry's here.
Wow. So yeah, I don't know if you. It's weird. It's weird seeing all these comments because Susie's usually watching the stream and
Yes.
commenting, and with her being on the stream, I figured that our that's like 30% of our
Like
regular
a third
viewers.
of our
Yeah.
audience.
With her not being watching, but we're very happy to talk about some comics. Let's just jump right into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Since you're a veteran of watching the stream,
Of course.
Jesse thought she'd be the only one. Well,
Aw.
you are not, but we are always glad to have you watching.
Yeah,
But
I miss being in the chat with her.
I know, yeah. Well, now you can talk to her directly.
Of course.
You know that when I do this stream, I always like to start with the facsimiles because I'm an old person and I like my old guy comics. And there is a couple of great facsimiles coming out tomorrow. Not the normal ones. I've been kind of bored with like every month. I'm just talking about these same old Spider-Man or Secret Wars or Crisis on
Another
Infinite
new
Earth.
Batman facsimile.
Yeah. But this one is actually really exciting. There is the classic Superman versus Muhammad Ali. This is an oversized Treasury Edition comic. Look, it doesn't even fit on the camera. Let's see if I can. So, look how big this is. This is giant. Hey, Alex. Hey, it's Susie. That's right.
Hi.
So this is a classic comic by Neil Adams.
And this one is one of my favorites as well.
It's actually one of your favorites. You have an original copy of it, don't you?
I do.
It would have been really cool if you would have brought it into the stream so that we could compare the new printing versus the old printing.
I had it on my table ready to go, and I was so excited to bring it in to compare the old and the new.
Yeah, but
and then I think I accidentally left it on top of my car.
That's that's not good. This is not this is it's a little bit of a valuable comic because these are the kind of things that don't get collected often partly because they're just so big and there's licensing issues, they have to license the Muhammad Ali estate and stuff. The question, who wins?
You'd be surprised.
I'll tell you who wins. The reader wins. It's a really awesome story. Great art by like I said, Neil Adams. It's they set up to do a charity bout, I think is what it is, and then aliens invade and it gets kind of crazy. Just look at this giant art. That is
look at
so
that
cool.
Spread. It's crazy.
Spoiler: Superman punches through Ali. Yeah, what's nice about this is I like these treasury size books because you can really appreciate the large art and really appreciate the art on this scale.
Because it's about the size that it was drawn on originally.
Yeah, so this is printed at it's not quite 11 by 17. I think it's
it's
10
close.
by 14, but it's pretty close to an 11 by. It's a little wider than a standard page.
Right.
But one thing, just as an example of one of the things that you can do at this large size, one of the cool things about this cover, I don't know if you noticed this, Susie, but it's so big, I can't get it on screen. Everybody in the crowd, these are all references. Every single person in this crowd is real or fictional. You can see on the cover here, there's the back of Batman's head, but who's that right next to him? Do you recognize that? Anybody out there recognize that guy from
I think I recognize the guy next to
the
him.
mid-70s? You might recognize that's Sonny Bono What? Come on, Sonny and Cher.
How did you expect me to know that?
Zappa is a good guess, but no. Burt Reynolds. That's Sonny. It's Sonny Bono. And then you recognize that guy right there, former president. Anybody got it?
The chat's got it right.
Former President Jimmy Carter, and then even on the back, it's a wraparound, and there's all these people. Some of them are just like artists that were working artists at the time. I think Bernie Wrightson, who created Swamp Thing. It's hard to see on camera, but and like on the inside page, there is actually a key.
Oh, that's cool.
So they have a code, 172 cameo appearances.
Oh my goodness!
And there's like I said,
Gil Kane's on there.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of like Neil's friends, artists, and then also characters like Batman and Plastic Man,
Cher?
Jimmy Olsen, Cher and Sonny. So that's really cool. Like I'm a sucker for these types of like comics. Yeah, it is impressive. It's really cool. So I'm so happy that they're doing a facsimile reprint of this, because like, first of all, finding one in good condition is tough, because these things, they're giant, and they were for kids back in the 70s, so kids would read them and just tear them up, and also the fact that it's not been in print again until now. It's not the cheapest thing in the world, so it's really cool. What was the code in the OG book?
That's a good question.
If
only I had the OG book.
I think it was. If only somebody had remembered to bring it, we could compare. But you know what? Like, so one other thing I'll say about this is that I love that DC does their facsimile reprints with really nice paper. I've talked about this before. I've complained about Marvel's reprints where they're like too glossy and it messes up the colors. But like the nice thing about these DC reprints, like here's a nice page of Muhammad Ali. Like it looks exactly how the book would have looked when it was originally printed, and it just feels more true.
Same texture.
Yeah, it's like you can feel the texture of the paper. It's not exactly newsprint, but it's like a better version of it. Drink your Ovaltine, right? But yeah, so really, really, really excited for this, because now I don't have to like go on eBay and spend a lot of money on one. So very excited. DC's always coming through. One more facsimile that I'm also pretty excited about is also an old guy comic. This one is from 1984, I think. This is the very first issue of Transformers, which was originally published by Marvel Comics. So this is not strictly a facsimile. This is I think they call it like an archive edition or something like this. So this is put out by Image, Skybound, who bought the license to Transformers and G.I. Joe, and they're doing all the new G.I. Joe and Transformers comics that I talk about, how much I love all the time. So this is just a reprint of the classic first Transformers. And again, Skybound knows what they're doing. They printed on this nice newsprint, so it looks just exactly like the original comic. The colors are so much better. It looks like a comic book to me, and I just really like it. So this will go nicely with, if you've been reading the new Daniel Warren Johnson Transformers series. This is like, you can clearly tell that this is the comic series that he was riffing on when he did his new version. So very excited for that. All right, I think I've gushed a lot about old guy comics. Oh wait, no, I got one more old guy comic. We're going to blast through a bunch of the stuff that's in my regular poll, but not just yet, because I got one more. We're going to fit the theme. One more old guy comic to talk about, and then we're going to talk about some brand new comics. Yes. But there's a 30th anniversary special coming out tomorrow, DC's Zero Hour. This is the big event from, 30 years ago. What year would that have been?
1994?
Well, the year is 2024, so 30 years ago would have been 94. Yes, good job. Now you know what it's like to be Celeste. Everybody says I'm too mean to Celeste, so I'm gonna be nicer to you. Zero Hour. This was the big event from '94. So the big thing about it, this is when Hal Jordan became Parallax, and he became a villain, and then the new Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner, was introduced. And so it's a new comic. It's new stories, just kind of set in that period, like short stories about that story. But the nice thing about it is that they bring back a lot of the original creators. So like Dan Jurgens and Ron Mars and There's who's the Brett Breeding, Jerry Ordway, just a lot of the guys that were involved in the original crossover. I can't math in my head either. Oh, that's too bad. But yeah, so I was never I never really read 0 Hour. I think last year or the year before, DC did their 30th anniversary for the Death of Superman, and that one I was very excited about because I was all about Death of Superman. But by the time 0 Hour came out, I wasn't really following DC, so I'm kind of curious to read this. Maybe dip my toes into 0 Hour.
I was curious. Do you have any thoughts on the Sorrow Lantern that is new recently? His power is depression.
I mean that sounds appropriate. I actually have no thoughts about that. I don't have a lot of strong opinions about DC. I was a Marvel kid, so that's the stuff that I get emotional, like maybe unfairly emotional about. Whereas DC, I'm just like whatever. They're cool characters, but I've got like no attachment to them. But yeah, 0 Hour 30th anniversary. It was very controversial that Hal Jordan became a villain. Like he was like Hal Jordan, like Superman. He was one of the most pure heroes, and then he was corrupted. It was the 90s, baby. Like
anything went.
Superman died. Professor X.
What?
Yeah. Spoiler alert: Superman died.
But he had to fight Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. Well, this was after it. Yeah. He took on Muhammad Ali, but he couldn't take on Doomsday. That was. Oh. All right. I'm already feeling myself go hoarse. So let's talk about something that you're excited about.
Ooh.
I mean, this is the whole reason you're here, right?
Well, I mean, should I do the one that I'm like randomly excited about?
Let's talk about the one you're randomly excited about. We're gonna tease. I'm gonna tease all that stuff. He was depressed after killing Ali in the fight. Yeah.
Oh,
boo. Okay, so what is this book here? We've talked about this on the stream before.
Yes, so I'm really excited to read Cult of the Lamb. I haven't been able to read it just yet, but the art by Troy Little is just so crisp and good.
Yeah.
He seems like he's penciling everything digitally and then inking it traditionally, which is like the opposite of what I usually hear artists do. I usually hear like artists do the flip side where they like pencil it and then digitally ink it. But
I know some people that work like that because it's easier to like do digital pencils and just get like your rough layout, and then you can print that out and then do your inks over top of it, so you have a little bit more sure hand, but also you don't have to be worried that you're destroying the original art. Like, but it'll still have that a traditional organic art feel to it. Like it won't look. Yeah, so I get that.
Yeah, even though he's like inking it traditionally, though, it's just so crisp, and the way that his black placement is just like this stark contrast. It looks gorgeous. So I've been like super excited to read it. I know I've been buying every issue since, and then I'm excited to get the trade whenever it comes out.
Yeah, it looks good. We talked about it when issue 1 came out. I read that, and I was very impressed with it. I guess we should say, if you don't know, this is based off of a video game, which is pretty popular. I've never played the game myself, but it looks like something I would probably enjoy.
Right. And Christian is a huge fan.
Yeah, and our coworker Christian.
I think he read the first issue and said that it's very true to the games and everything, and really adds a lot to the lore.
Yeah. So Celeste, the regular co-host of this stream, she's been reading it and she really loves it. So I'm sure they will do a trade paperback for it, and it'll look really good in a nice collected edition.
Yes.
All right. There's a couple other like new #1 books that are coming out tomorrow that I haven't read yet, but I think they're worth noting. New Berserker. This book, for those of you that don't know, this was created by Keanu Reeves, and they did the series. I guess it was a couple of years ago. They did the main 12-issue series. And then in the last couple of years, last year or so, they've been doing just like these periodic one-shots, which I think is really good. I like it. It's a good use. Like they did the main story, and if you don't know, it's basically about a immortal barbarian warrior guy, but which that's a perfect setting for you can do random one-shot stories that are set in just like whenever you want in history. So like they did one a few months ago that was set in cowboy times, like it was like 18 something, and this is set in like Genghis Khan times. They've done some other ones that's like barbarian times, or like like Babylonian
Is
era.
it the same character every time?
It's the same character, yeah. Because
Interesting.
like I said, like the whole thing is that he's this immortal, like he's kind of like Wolverine, but without all the mutant X-Men stuff.
Right.
He's just this immortal
I was about to say,
killer.
it kind of reminds me of that opening of the Wolverine movie where it's like him and his
Mhm.
brother like fighting in all the different wars.
Yes.
Which is pretty much the best part about that movie, and then
Yeah,
you kind
yeah.
of shut it off.
Yeah. That's Wolverine Origins.
We'll talk about the rest
I don't have a
of
lot of nice things to say about that movie. Does he go berserk? He does, in fact, go berserk. But yeah, it is. Yeah. Let's see. Does he get? You know what? He doesn't. He doesn't fight other immortals. It's not a Highlander situation, Dan. I know what you're trying to say there. But it's a lot of the stories kind of have a sameness to them. Like they're riffing on this theme of like loneliness and just like the inevitability of violence in human history, which I think it's something worth saying. If you can make it look good, this issue is drawn by Ron Garney, who I believe is the regular Berserker artist, so it's nice to see him back on it. Just like cool. Oh yeah, very bloody stuff. Like there's just some. Oh, I'm not
Are we
even
allowed to show this?
Oh, I guess. Yeah, he is the last one. Thank you. Yeah, I thought that's what the case was. He goes berserk. Well, anyway, yeah, I just opened up to a randomly super gory page, so I'm not gonna. We're not gonna show it. But like we're moving on. Another book that I'm excited that comes out tomorrow. The Distillery, the publisher Distillery. They have been putting out a lot of creator-owned books, and they're all this like oversized magazine format. Not quite as big as the Superman Fights Muhammad Ali, but still pretty big. And this is Life by. It's written by Brian Azzarello and Stephanie Phillips, and art is by Daniel Zazelj. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I don't know a whole lot about this, but it looks really interesting. It's got a cool sci-fi setup. And the first thing I noticed that made me want to read this is that this is a classic flip book. Here's the cover, and then also here's the cover.
What?
And so what it is this is a cool series. What it is this issue is dual narrative. So there's two different stories in it that are like around the same. It's two different perspectives of the same story. I love flip books, and I like that. One of the things I like about it is that it's like just like a really good use of the medium of comic books. Like it's just something that I feel like you can only get away with in comics. Oh, I had it upside down both times. Where it's just like you can just print it like that, and I like that it's a fun use with the narrative. So you have like two stories that really are one story, but from different angles. Yeah. Just like works really good. I thought you were going to actually flip the pages for
an animation. Oh yeah, that would be
like,
sick. Like actually flipping through.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Dan, doesn't work like that.
I will say I missed like the weird gimmicks that they would try in like the 90s. Mm-hmm. Like just like anything would go. Like I want to kind of convince Jacksepticeye to have those lenticular like. Like
oh yeah, those are crazy.
Ones.
Yeah. Surprised I haven't talked about Soma. It does come from Distillery. It was like one of their first titles, and it was nominated for an Eisner. I can't remember. Did I talk about the first issue of Soma or not? I don't know.
I don't remember, but I didn't realize that was a Distillery.
Yeah, that one's a Distillery comic. Admittedly, with a lot of these Distillery books, because they're mini-series, I've been kind of waiting for the trade on it, because they are in this oversized format, and they are going to look really good. If it's just like 3 to 5 issues, it's going to look really good like in a hardcover, like sit on your shelf. But
the lenticular like holographic.
Yeah, you got to get that lenticular. You can like run your nails on them.
Yeah.
But like as I was saying, I've been kind of like waiting for a nice hardcover for a lot of these Distillery books. But this one, it's made for the issue. Like you can't replicate the same experience in a trade papack by having the flip book. So I'm definitely going to have to get this now, I guess. So good job, Brian Azzarello. You got me. And Brian Azzarello is a great writer. He did the series 100 Bullets, which is a classic crime noir book. I highly recommend it.
I will say there's also a really great graphic novel about this band called Ninja Sex Party, which is like kind of in the same like YouTuber space as like Jacksepticeye and stuff. And it's basically about 2 band members, and it is like one of these like flip books, and at the middle is when they meet.
Yes.
And so that's when it becomes like centered. And I thought that's a really cool
Yeah.
gimmick.
I actually made a little self-promotion. I made a comic like that one time where it was a flip book, and the centerfold page where the two stories weren't intertwined, but the centerfold page was like an Ouroboros that you had to like spin the book around to like read everything. So like
you have to bring that tomorrow because I want to see it.
yeah. That's like the dialogue bubbles were upside down depending on like which angle you were at. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. We did that, but that's an old book that I did a while back. Anyway,
classic.
Yes, classic. Okay, let's we'll blast through a couple of the books that are in my pull, just because people always ask me like what I'm reading, and I like to. That's fine. So don't worry. I'm very excited for a new Batman Dark Age. Mark Russell and Mike Allred. Mike Allred is one of those artists who's just one of the best working artists. A lot of artists like that are very stylized and very popular, they get so successful that they don't have to draw comics anymore, and they just draw like covers, and they don't really do
the dream.
That's I'm Susie. I know you're learning this, but like the dream to finding success in comics is to be so successful that you don't have to draw comics anymore.
So nice.
That's how you know. That's how you know you've made it as a comic book artist when you don't have to draw comics. It's great. But one of the things I like about Mike Allred is that he just loves comic books, and he still puts out new comics all the time. And he's doing this Batman book at DC, and it's kind of like it's not under the Elseworlds title, but it's like an alternate universe Batman that takes place in the 60s and 70s, and it's told with this narrative where Bruce Wayne is like old and retired in a nursing home, and he's recalling his like life as Batman. Yeah, that's like the opening page here. He's like old and kind of
Batman Beyond style.
A little bit, yeah. And he's like trying to piece together his memories, and it's just really good. Also, it ties in with the classic 1985 DC event, Crisis on Infinite Earths. I can't believe I blanked on that. But it's like a secret tie-in to it. Like it doesn't like overtly talk about Crisis on Infinite Earths, but I think they showed. Oh yeah, I mean
some slight references.
Like there's like this page right here looks like it might involve some Crisis on Infinite Earths type things, and there's a character who I think he's in here. Now I look like a dope just flipping through these pages and not know. Oh yeah, this character right here. He's like a main character in Crisis on Infinite Earths.
I like how they take a page to promote the Rick and Morty anime in there, as if like that's the same target audience.
I know. You know what? It's it's just you gotta accept whoever is paying for ads at this point, because there are not a lot of ads in comic books these days. But on the subject of Rick and Morty, since you just brought it up randomly out of the blue, we talked about Rick. When did this come out?
This came out last week.
Last week. So we talked about it last week. So yeah, I think I don't remember anything that I said about this comic.
Well, you did mention one of my favorite little bits of drawing this comic was actually you turned to the perfect page.
Excellent.
So on this page, we were going for kind of like, oh my God, who posed in the tank? That one presidential candidate.
Oh, geez. You know what? I want to say Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I know that's not right.
No.
But
it was
Dukakis.
a vague...
Yeah, you're right.
You're right.
It is Dukakis, because he had the famous landslide loss to
Yes.
Reagan, and but yeah, it was Dukakis in the tank.
So we were kind of making a play on that joke, and then they were going to turn it into like a potato cannon, as you see there. And I remember when I turned in the first draft for it, I spelled potato correctly, and they were like, "No, you have to put the E in there because it's a Dan Quayle joke." And I was like, "Oh, what?"
And you were like, "Who's Dan Quayle?"
Who's Dan? I was born in '96. And so I just thought they spelled it wrong, the script, and I was like, stupid.
Yeah, what a dumb writer. You went to college to misspell potatoes?
I will say James Asmus and Jim Festante. You guys are amazing. I thought it was just an error in the comic. I was like,
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to show off this comic. I was really excited about it and worked really hard. The fun thing about this too is that it is considered canon to the show, which is like different than a lot of like the comics you'll see.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of licensed comics, they're just somebody
bubble.
pays for the license and they make their thing, but it's not really a part of the.
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And so I had Rick drinking an IPA because I'm trying to make it cool. Trying my best.
Drinking IPAs are cool. I don't know.
Cool.
Every IPA
and that's how I make it cool. Right?
I'm not an IPA drinker. Every time I have one, I just want to throw up.
Oh my gosh, moving to the Midwest has definitely shifted stuff like that. But yeah, it was super exciting, and I loved the show. I grew up watching it with my brother, and so it was fun inserting like a whole bunch of different references in it. And if you see the weird little character on the front, I do want to say that I am going to be doing a book signing tomorrow here at the store.
I wanted to bring that up.
Yes, and so a few of the comics will have like full color signatures just like that.
So
yeah,
that's pretty cool.
About it.
Yeah, if you weren't already planning on coming into Fantasy Books and Games for New Comic Book Day to get your new comics, you should definitely come in between 4 and 6 p.m. because Susie will be here in store signing books.
Yes, I'm so excited.
And like she did this, what's the name of this character? Say it.
His name is Mr. Poopy Butthole. He's one of my favorites.
So I have a confession to make, Susie. This isn't the one you drew for me. You did do a very nice remark on the copy for me, and I'm very, very appreciative of that. But I am not joking when I say I really just hate that character so much. Admittedly, we've already been over this. I'm not like a huge Rick and Morty fan, but like I despise that character, and I get that that's the joke. The joke is that he has the worst name ever, and I just don't care. I hate it.
It was so funny too. He has like a signature expression, and so I drew a bunch of these last week when I was at like a Warhammer event, and people were buying my comic. And the whole time, poor Dan was sitting next to me, and I was just going like, "Ooh-wee!" Like I was just drawing it the whole time. Love him.
But yeah, so definitely swing out if you can. If you're in the area, swing into the store and get a signed copy, and maybe Susie will have some that she sketched on as well.
Yes.
Always exciting. I love art. I love comic books, so it's always cool when you get to meet a creator and just get that little extra token.
And I will take the time real quick to say that our beloved Aaron is also having his own book signing
at the
end of the month.
It's not the end of this month. It's next month. The end of next month.
Is it not September yet?
It's not September yet. It's Mr. Mixie Pitlick doesn't have a bad name. No, Mr. Mixie Pitlick is an awesome name. I can't believe I even have. We're not talking about this. Moving on. Oh my goodness. Okay. Another book I've been waiting on this one for a long time. Batman Offworld. I don't. It's funny. There's 2 Batman books coming out that are in my poll that I'm talking about. I don't actually read a lot of Batman. But these are just like really good creators that are doing these 2 miniseries. This is written by Jason Aaron and illustrated by Doug Mahnke, and just awesome art.
Whoa.
It's Batman in space, and what I like about this is like there's always like 2 versions of Batman. There's like silly Batman, like old like 60s Batman.
Yeah, Adam West
Batman, and he like fights aliens and he does all kinds of weird stuff. And then there's the serious like dark Batman, all the movies. And what Jason Aaron has managed to do is combine the 2 very well, I should add. Usually it's like one or the other, but this is Batman in space, and it's like the dark Batman. It's young Batman learning, like the motivation for Batman to go into space is like he meets an alien for the first time, and it just like beats the crap out of him because it's an alien. And all of his like ninja knowledge just didn't help him. He didn't know
He didn't have enough prep time.
He didn't have enough. Exactly. He didn't have any prep time. So this is like just him like, I'm just going to go into space and learn how to beat up aliens. And it's so simple, but it's pretty great. I really like it. So yeah, really good.
It's fantastic.
You're
not going to talk about Venom?
Yeah, we don't need to talk about Venom. I read one Venom book, and it's not the main Venom book, and I don't know if anybody else even reads it.
I like the separation anxiety name though.
That's so you want me to talk about Venom separation anxiety? So Venom separation anxiety, this is a thing that Marvel does that I cannot stand. So congratulations, Susie. I was trying to avoid this. Is that they just reuse old names from old series. So there was already a Venom separation anxiety from like 1996 or 5 or something like that. And so they're just using the name again. It's not Separation Anxiety 2. It's just Separation Anxiety.
It again.
And that bothers me because it just makes it that much more confusing for people that are trying to find the issues. And they're like, do you have the
this?
Venom separation anxiety comic. And we're like, yes, we do. And then it's not the one that they want.
Oh.
It's a different one. And so I'm like, I just wish Marvel would get it together with that.
Is that supposed to be the Rhino?
Yes, this is the Rhino on the cover.
Interesting.
The reason they call it separation anxiety is because it's specifically supposed to make you think of the old series, because it takes place in the like continuity or the era of, like, that looks like a direct swipe of a 1997 Venom comic. But like, so it takes place in the old version of the series. And what's nice about it, the reason I support these types of books, I call them retro continuity books, because they're not really taking place in the current stories, but they usually bring back the older writers who were writing books back then.
Ooh, that's
so
cool.
they can tell like another story kind of in their time period. So it has like two, like, number one, it hits the nostalgia for me, because I'm like, oh, this is exactly like the Venom comic I read as a kid, and he's not all King in Black now or whatever. And but then also I can feel good, because I'm like, oh, I want to support David Michelini, because comic book industry is a dark and dreary place, and there ain't no retirement. So I'm just, I know this is what you got to look forward to, Susie. Yeah. Congratulations. But so I'm always like, anytime they like give an old guy like a book, I'm just like, support that book. They need everything they can
need the
get.
Groceries that week.
Exactly. They need groceries this week. Another book that's in my poll I don't want to talk too much about, Savage Sword of Conan. I love that Titan.
Ooh.
They're doing their regular Conan series, but they're also doing the Savage Sword of Conan, which was something that Marvel did back in the day when Marvel published Conan. They did their regular Conan series, and then they did this oversized magazine format that was in black and white. And the stories were a bit more mature, a bit more in line with the classic Robert Howard Conan stories. And so the art is usually really top-notch.
The level of detail is just insane.
You heard that Conan fought Thor one time. Dan, I told you that story in confidence. We're not going to discuss it on the stream. There's like really, really good art. And it's like a couple of different stories in it. One of the nice things about this version of Savage Sword that Titan is doing is that they're doing a Solomon Kane story, which if you don't know who Solomon Kane is, it's another character that was created by Robert Howard, the creator of Conan. And so it's just nice to see like Solomon Kane represented in comic book form, because he's usually the forgotten character. Like, everybody's more focused on Conan. But yeah, really good stuff. It's just good classic barbarian comics, the kind of stuff that I really enjoy. I got one other barbarian comic. Oh my God, I'm dropping my books all over the floor. This is the disaster. End the stream right now. One more barbarian comic to talk about: Barbaric versus Deathstalker. If you're a fan of crappy B movies from the 80s, you might remember a Deathstalker series. And my introduction to Deathstalker was an episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000. One of the movies ended up on there. And so Vault Comics, they put out this series called Barbaric, which is about a barbarian who has a cursed axe. It's kind of difficult to see on the cover. But he's cursed where he can only kill people if they're bad, like if they've done something immoral. So he's a murderous barbarian who just wants to go, pillaging and killing people, but he's like magically prevented from doing it unless they're evil. And then he also has this magical axe that loves to kill people, and when he kills people, he drinks their blood and then gets drunk.
Oh my goodness.
And so it's very much like a comedy series. But this is the meeting of the barbaric character versus Deathstalker, who is, like I said, a classic B-movie barbarian character who recently had a comic book series also at Vault. So it's kind of neat that they're doing this crossover. And I actually have to be careful about which pages I flip to, because this is a punch a hole in the ocean. Yeah. Did Thor punch a hole in Conan? Sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses. I can't read your comments that well. Short answer, no, but he probably should have. But yeah. So this is definitely like Barbaric versus Deathstalker. Definitely like more like a mature readers type of barbarian comic. One of the things I liked about the story is that they kind of set up this contrived reason for why they would fight, where a wizard summons both of them into his realm to watch them fight for his entertainment. And then they're both just like, well, we're not going to do that, and they just walk away, because they're like, well, why would we do that? And
That's a great twist,
right?
Like the usual.
So they don't do it,
contrived.
but then the story develops, and they do have a real reason in the story for why they would fight each other, and it kind of comes about like pretty naturally to the way the story is set up. So it's pretty well written. It's very jokey. Like I don't follow a lot of the barbaric stories because I think some of the humor is a little too anachronistic. Like the characters talk like modern movie characters, and that just bothers me in a barbarian comic. Maybe that's just, it's a personal thing for sure. But
I do really like Tim Seeley's comedy.
And so I was about to say that. So Tim Seeley, he doesn't write barbaric. He wrote the Deathstalker series. I should get the camera back on here. Tim Seeley is a writer that I like a lot. He currently writes Local Man, another book that I talk about all the time.
More chatters.
Yeah. So anyway, I was glad Tim Seeley's name on this. I was like, oh, I'll check it out. I like Tim Seeley. Let's see. Ooh. We got some bots in here. Oh, goody. You know what? I barely know how to use Discord. This is why Dan should be here. We're just gonna whoops bots. We're just gonna ignore the bots. Just do your best. Yeah. Let's see. I got too much to talk about here.
Please don't make me do the math on the 85th.
Okay, yeah. So here we go. Marvel Comics 85th anniversary special. So that means Marvel. It's the year 2024. That means Marvel debuted in. Anybody? You got it? Do the math, Susie.
I draw cartoons. Like I can't even do my own taxes.
Yes. Yeah. It's like 39, 40. That's 85. Yeah. Boom. Yeah. Anyway, this is an anthology series that Marvel is putting out to celebrate their 85th anniversary. It's like all anthology series. It's kind of a mixed bag. 1885. You're pretty close there. It's kind of a mixed bag of what you get, but I think they did a pretty good job of trying to appeal to like a wide audience. Like some stories are, not going to appeal to everybody, but they kind of cover all their bases. There's one story in here that's for old guys like me, which is this story illustrated by Alan Davis, and it takes place in the Excalibur period for the X-Men when there was a series called Excalibur, and that's when it was the British X-Men. Captain Britain was on the team, and Nightcrawler was on the team, and Kitty Pryde. They had left the X-Men to be in Excalibur, so that's kind of nice. Rachel Gray, this is like her introduction was in that series, I believe. And then the biggest reason I don't want to buy an overpriced anthology series if I'm not going to like all the stories in it, but they kind of got me with this short story by one of my favorite artists currently working, Steve Scroce, and he just has this beautiful style that he kind of developed while he worked with Jeff Darrow, who is also an amazing artist. And it's just a fun comic about Marvel characters killing each other. And in the future, you see in the story, in the future, they just exist as like clones, like multiple clones of the original versions, and they exist only to fight for our entertainment. There's no story anymore, and it's kind of a joke about like everybody's just fans of these characters because they just want to see them kill each other, and they don't
off the rails
exactly.
Secret Wars.
And also, this book gets super extra duper extra points because my boy Dupe is there. Yes, Dupe. And look, he's getting gutted by Deadpool. Oh, poor Dupe.
You can't tell me you like Dupe but hate Mr. Poopy Butthole.
I don't have time to go into this. Dupe is amazing. First of all, Dupe is funny. The name is funny. It's clever. It's like a twist. Yes, and also yes, LOL at that Venom just biting right into Spider-Man. And I like that Steve Scroce's version of Venom is like the classic McFarlane version of Venom, where he's like just like really bulky and he's got the big face and the big jaw. But anyway, it's a short story, but it's a lot of fun. Wolverine's in it, and he cuts up a lot of people. There's actually, I guess I don't want to spoil anything from the Wolverine Revenge series that issue number 1 came out last week. But there's a scene in this short Steve Scroce story in here that is like very similar to a scene that was in Wolverine Revenge, and I'm just like, wow, that's like the exact same like scene of Wolverine doing a thing. And I wonder if they, almost like somebody was copying the other one, but probably not. Okay. My throat is getting sore.
I have noticed I don't think either of us grabbed Void Silver.
What? I thought you had it.
I thought you.
Oh my god! You go grab that. I'm going to talk about this this series right here. You know what? Dan Glob Herman is amazing. So Susie's got to run. Susie's got to run and get the comic book. Did you see her run by the window? She forgot the comic she was going to talk about, so she's in her way in. But I got one other thing we're going to talk about is the Universal Monsters series, Frankenstein. I'm like, wow, Susie, you were really fast. So, yeah, Susie, how dare you? So before we talk about Frankenstein, you went all that way. Let's.
Oh no, I'm even more sweaty now.
Oh, now you're even sweatier. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Take a second to talk about Frankenstein.
Okay, we'll talk about Frankenstein. So these are the two covers. I've been following the Universal Monsters series from Skybound Image, and they've all been pretty good. So, and my wife is a big Frankenstein fan, so I'm probably going to have to get. I'm definitely going to get it. I just don't know if I'm going to have to get both covers like we did for Creature from the Black Lagoon. But this is written and drawn by Michael Walsh. And I love comics that are written and drawn by one person. And what's been kind of interesting about all of these Universal Monsters books is they all kind of have their own thing going on. Like the Dracula one, I feel like was a more of a straightforward interpretation of the classic Dracula. And then the Creature from the Black Lagoon was like a sequel to Creature from the Black Lagoon. So like Dracula was just a retelling of Dracula. Creature was a new story that was a sequel to Creature. And the new Frankenstein, kind of feels like it's a mix of the two, where he's riffing on a lot of the classic imagery and scenes from Frankenstein, but he's introducing new elements to it. So
I love the limited color palette.
Yeah, first of all, the art is beautiful. Like, it just looks so good. And the way this story is set up is that this little kid here, his dead dad is one of the bodies that Frankenstein exhumes to make the monster.
Ugh,
and so, yeah, I mean, it's like if I had a nickel for every time my dad was turned into a Frankenstein monster, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
I mean, my dad's fine. He's up in a farm in upstate New York, running around with all the other dads.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I'm happy for him.
It's been a decade, but you know.
Dan's dad just went out for cigarettes 20 years ago and never came back. But yeah, this is a really good book. It's like I said, it's like a twist on the classic Frankenstein, where the kid kind of sneaks into the laboratory trying to find out what happened to his dad. You get it. I don't want to reveal, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a nice double page spread. That is
gorgeous.
Yeah, it's really, really good looking book. So yeah, I definitely highly recommend the new Frankenstein series and all the new Universal Monsters comics. They're really, really good. So spoilers, no, he won't. Aw, poor Dan.
He'll be back eventually.
All right.
A special kind of cigarette.
So I have one more comic that I'm going to talk about, but we're going to save it for the very end because I don't want to. I know what are we at here? We're at we got like 15 minutes left, so we got plenty of time. But I want to give you all the time in the world to talk about this. What we have here now. What is this? Void Silver.
Yes, this is Void Silver, issue number 1. Yes, it is finally being printed through the Diamond catalog, so it's going to be through like comic stores across the globe now.
Yeah, that's what the people are here for.
Yeah. Yes.
So Susie, I am an old, and so I don't know anything about this comic and what you're doing here. I don't know who Jacksepticeye is. I only know how to pronounce it because I've heard you say it so many times.
Yes.
So I haven't had a chance to read this issue yet, but I did flip through it, and I have to say, just looking at the cover, I definitely appreciate that there is a giant cat in the comic.
Everyone seems to love the cat.
So that's my first question. What is the deal with the cat? Are you okay? Can we show it? I don't want to spoil anything.
This actually, it was initially released around like end of May, beginning of June, and that was for people who special ordered, and then a limited amount of shops, kind of like us. But now, yes, it is being printed through the Diamond catalog, so it's just being like re-released across the globe. And
so tell your comic book store that you want Void Silver, and they can order it for you.
Yes, everyone loves the cat.
I mean, who doesn't love a cat? A giant cat, though, actually would be pretty scary. Because I don't like kitties. In my experience, cats. The only reason they don't kill you is because they're smaller than you. Like if they were bigger than you, they would just. Well, first they would play with you and torture you, and then they would kill you, or you would probably die of a heart attack, like most.
I will say though, this first cover here with the cat, that is the exact face that my cat makes whenever he wakes me up at like 5 a.m.
Yes, I've seen that before. Yes, and so that was going to be another one of my questions. Do you use your cat as reference for this?
Oh, all of the time. Yes, and I feel so bad because sometimes I have to like lift. Like there's some weird angles I'll have to get him, so I'll set my camera up and then
you're like
I'll like lift my cat up, but he's like fine. He's just like purring and like dangling.
Yeah, like I said, he knows that you're bigger than him, so if he put up a fuss, you just whomp him.
Oh, he could take me.
So tell me more about this comic. Like, what's the story here? I like this kind of surreal this was just the first thing that jumped out to me.
Thank you. This is one of my favorite spreads that I was able to do. I just love doing the paneling for it. But so this character is based off of one that Jacksepticeye created back in 2013. I want to say there are some lore experts in the chat that can definitely like correct me. But he created just this series of characters and skits and everything, and they just kind of developed like a life of their own. And the community has been amazing. 2016, it was already.
2016. Look at that. Three instant responses. Boom, boom, boom.
I am a fake fan. But yes, the community has created just like this beautiful world around each of the characters. And now it's kind of like progressed to each have their own comic franchise. And I know he's looking to be able to create like video games for them later. But this specific character, his name is Marvin the Magnificent. And he has a lot of cat-based powers.
Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah, that's cool. It looks really great. You did all of the art in this?
Correct. Yes, and the coloring is done by Alejandro. Andrew Dollhouse that does the colors, and he did a fantastic job. And like he'll be helping me out. We're doing the colors for issue 2 right now.
All right.
But these are doozies. These are 40 pages each.
Oh, okay. So these are a little like double a standard comic book. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty hefty.
So this one kind of focuses on like the origins of Marvin and how he got into like the magic circle and grew his powers and learned how to be a cool hero. Be
a magical
magical man.
Magical boy.
Yes.
I almost said magical girl, like not as a joke, just I slipped,
I would love to draw a cover like that.
Yeah, like
that would be the lenticular one with like the hologram, like.
Yeah, and get like that like Sailor Moon vibe going on with it. That would actually be pretty choice. Do people still say choice?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool, cool. Well, yeah, this is a good looking book, and then again. Having that signing tomorrow. We're going to have lots of copies of this.
Yes, and I'm super excited for, if there are any Jacksepticeye fans in the area, I'm going to be doing a glow-in-the-dark Higgins for the covers for these ones.
Cool,
so that one's going to be very pretty.
So someone is going to have that drawn in about 20 minutes after the stream. I can guarantee you.
I could probably find it on Tumblr.
Yeah, that would be amazing. But so I don't. Do we miss anything? Was there anything else you wanted to?
No, I do know that I'm very excited.
People are still correcting you on that date.
I know.
Yeah.
They're so smart. But we are.
Oh my God! I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. I literally just watched Oh My Goddess last night. My wife and I have been watching it. Okay, continue.
Yes. So I will say that we are having the pre-order for issue 2, and that is going to be coming out in October.
Okay.
So we're going to be having it at the store at the end of October, but we will be having it ready for New York Comic Con. And so Jacksepticeye has confirmed his appearance for that one.
Nice.
But I will say I will also be derping around, hoping to be able to doodle some stuff on people's comics as well.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for that.
That's pretty exciting, getting to go to New York Comic Con.
Yeah, I just got approved for my professional badge today.
As a professional, no less. You're not one of the scrubs. Like you're a pro. Like, congratulations.
Yes, we're excited to see everyone.
Well, awesome. That's great. But yes, a reminder: signing at the store tomorrow, 4 to 6. Susie will have copies of Rick and Morty and Void Silver, and maybe if she's feeling really froggy, she'll draw a sketch of Mr. Poopy Butthole on your Void Silver.
Am I allowed to do that?
I mean, if you want,
I'll draw him in the Marvin outfit.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Wearing the mask and all.
Okay, so we're gonna wind down this stream. Everybody's so excited for Jacksepticeye. This is like everybody, all the Jacksepticeye fans are just gonna like leave before we can talk about the final issue.
But we appreciate you tuning in for
this
sure.
This is like the time like I saw Weezer at a festival one time, and they played second to last, and after Weezer was Run DMC, and it was a giant festival, and literally after Weezer like got off the stage, everybody just left. And poor Run DMC, they just like had to play to like a half-empty auditorium, like a stadium. It was a little sad. But so yeah, we're the Run. I'm the Run DMC in this situation, and you are Weezer.
It seems like people are sticking around.
Well, good, because I actually have a pretty cool comic to talk about. 2016, just in case you missed that. So the final book we're going to talk about today is Aliens versus Avengers. That is correct. Aliens, as in the Xenomorphs versus the Avengers. So now that Disney has acquired all of the 20th Century Fox properties, now they can all cross over with Disney properties.
Goodness.
And so what we're seeing is they're doing a lot of crossovers between the Aliens and the Predators versus Marvel superheroes. And I'm actually kind of excited that they're doing this because there's actually a long-standing tradition in comic books to do like Predator versus a character. Because back when Dark Horse owned the characters, they would do crossovers with DC. And so they've done like Batman versus Aliens and Batman versus Predator and Superman.
I think I read the Batman
Predator.
versus Predator one.
Yeah,
I really like that one.
I think one that I really liked was Judge Dredd versus Aliens.
Oh my gosh!
You can imagine that's pretty cool.
Yes.
But yeah, so it's kind of neat that Marvel now they're getting a little piece of that action now that they own that Disney owns everything. Our Lord and Master Disney that is going to own 98% of the world. So this is it's written by Jonathan Hickman, who I'm very vocal about being hot and cold about. I don't always love everything that he does. But art is by Asad Ribic, who is a really, really, really good artist.
Whoa, that is stunning.
Yeah, he's really like... So I've complained before, Susie. You've heard me complain about like digital colors.
I never hear you complain. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't like to complain, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine, you know. But a lot of times digital coloring I think is like too busy or there's too much painting going on and you can't appreciate the line work of the comic book art. Like it kind of just gets covered up in all the like extra painting. But I like Asad Ribic's style because you can still clearly see he has a very like thin line work, but it's still like I did. Well, let me try that. There we go. He has a very thin line work, but you can still see it pretty clearly like in the art. And so this is a pretty solid issue. It takes place in the future, which I think is appropriate because all the good alien movies take place in the future.
Of course.
And it's like a future where Earth has been conquered by the alien species, and they're trying to figure out like who set the xenomorphs on Earth. And there's like a little history of like how the xenomorphs like took everything down. And the only thing I can say, this is definitely like this reads like a Hickman story where it's all just like a big lore dump where it's like this happened and then this happened and then these characters did this, and it's like the Inhumans in their impregnable city of Attilan, but then something got in and they fell, and you don't really get the details of what happened. It's just like you're reading it out of a history book.
Yeah.
And it's like the X-Men left Krakoa and went to Mars, and Apocalypse made his last stand fighting off the last aliens. And it's all very grandiose, but I hate to be like such a fanboy about it, but I'm just like, if aliens just like landed on Earth, I have a feeling like most Marvel superheroes would just like clean their clock. Like I know it's like aliens, like the meme has been like they're the perfect organism, like the perfect killing machine. Right. But it starts to sound like Batman and Prep Time, where it's like with Prep Time, Batman can do anything, and the aliens, they're the most. I saw Aliens 2. All they did was just shot them with a bunch of machine guns, and they were just getting mowed down like crazy.
Like a flamethrower.
Yeah,
took out half the nest.
Right. I feel like Hulk would just wipe a Phoenix, like Jean Grey. Like there's so many characters that would just be like, like Magneto would just like crush aliens. Like
Do you think Xavier could just be like, "Do not," and they'd be like, "Okay."
they don't even address that. So that's what I'm saying is there seems to be a little bit of a contrived setup where it's like, oh, the X-Men are just gone. That's why the aliens took over, and Black Bolt and the Inhumans, they're also just like they got defeated. We're not gonna, they just did. It just happened. The Fantastic Four, like some of the characters died, and other characters just after they disappeared, and you're just like, well, like okay, I guess if you just, I know that all storytelling is just making up stuff. That's literally what it is. But it just feels like can you make an "it's fine" emote?
We're gonna make it a shirt.
Oh yeah, it's fine. But no, I actually think this Aliens versus Avengers is a little bit more than fine. It was pretty okay. If you like Hulk, there's some good Hulk action. I like that Bruce Banner is like this really old guy, but when he turns into the Hulk, he's still just the Hulk. So I like that.
He does have a little bit of a receding hairline.
There is the way Assad Ribic draws him, he's like got that little bit of like old man face, but he's not full on. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
But he's not like full on Maestro where he's like gray beard and for all you uninitiated Hulk fans, Maestro is a future version of Hulk where he turns evil and like conquers the world, and he's got like a big beard and white hair. He's bald. He's like balding, and yeah. Anyway, so there's none of that going on in here. But yeah, it's it's pretty good. Like I said, I still feel like I finally found my catchphrase. It's fine. I still feel like the storytelling is a little contrived in its setup, but the world is, it's fun enough to see Marvel characters fighting aliens. Like that, we didn't really point out in the beginning. It's Black Panther, and as you can see, like it's a little hard to see on camera, but that's old Black Panther. That Maestro guy is a real jerk. Yes, you're correct. But yeah, so I enjoyed this comic, Avengers versus Aliens. I like the aliens. I haven't seen Alien Romulus yet. I have heard mostly good things from a lot of people, and then I heard some extremely negative things from a few people. And I fear that I probably lean further into the extreme negative angle, just based on what I've heard. So I'll probably get around to seeing it eventually, but I don't know if I'm going to see it.
We definitely need to do the Alien franchise next, because I know we've been doing all of the Predator movies.
Oh, yeah. For movie night, yeah, we host private movie parties where we watch awesome movies. And
it's mostly from the 80s.
Well, that's when the movies were good. It was the 80s. Like
they shot down my Shark Boy and Lava Girl movie.
I actually like. Kind of, I have a soft spot for Robert Rodriguez, even when he's making like goofy kitsch. But all right, I think that's it for the stream. Yeah. Good job, Susie. Thank you everybody for tuning in. All you new viewers,
thank you so much.
It was so awesome having Susie on the stream and showing off her work. I'd like to have more comic book creators, but you're the only one that also works here, so it's really easy to get you involved. And thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope you had fun. Like our friend Dan says, there's comics out there for everybody. We just want people to read comics. Come on down to Fantasy Books and Games. This is what's going on in the background there. Oh my God, there's a giant cow.
Whoa.
But I'm glad everybody had fun. Get your comic books from somewhere if you can't get them from us. We just want people reading comics. We're Team Yay Comics. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We're dipping out. So
yeah, thank you so much, guys.
See you all. Bye.